Cheeseburger in Paradise. 2 cans of ice-cold Pabst Blue Ribbon beer gently come to rest in a bed of pine needles before gently being covered over with some greenery. Ah, yes, new identity indeed. That little football excursion into the land of the hero further awakened the freedom I was now beginning to experience in high school. For nothing says Independence Day like a bunch of friends smuggling beer for the evening fireworks. It was July 4th in America, after all. With the special day came another tradition, the Matheson Backyard Cookout. Everywhere the eye looked, there were hot dogs, hamburgers, chips, and endless sun-kissed orange soda peeking out from an overstuffed cooler. There were backyard badminton games, horseshoes, croquet, and jarts, that insanely dangerous game where one chucks a projectile that would pierce a tank high into the air towards the opponent's side of the lawn. Fun and somewhat scary, especially when the adults started to indulge in the libations which were flowing. Through his youth, Jimmy was surrounded by adults, and it would be just him at these backyard soirees, culminating with a walk down to the town beach for music and fireworks. However, being an only child, Jimmy had one other kid he could count on to make an appearance. Malcolm would always have that boyish twinkle in his eyes and the endless smile that would be a lighthouse for good times. As Jimmy got a bit older, Steve and Ed would start coming by to enjoy the festivities and provide their best friend with a suitable reprieve among a sea of blabbering adults. They too also loved Malcolm's stories and antics that would occur as the blended scotch was open. Specifically, Malcolm's technique for cooking cheeseburgers, which has now garnered a place among the hallowed halls of memory for these 3 young men. To his defense, my grandfather hated cheese. Come to think of it, my mom does too, which is just downright ludicrous. In any event, the apron-clad Malcolm was fired up on some Cutty Sark liquid gold as the 3 of us boys stood eagerly by the grill, paper plates in hand. 1 slices or 2, Steve? Malcolm sputtered. 2, said my best friend, with an identical bowl cut to mine. Ed as well, now that I think of it. Not sure why you boys want to corrupt a perfectly good cheeseburger. I'm going to start that again. Not sure why you boys want to corrupt a perfectly good burger with this. He quickly scanned for Myrtis and her disapproving eyes. Seeing that the coast was clear, he whispered, "Shit." The boys laughed hard. But then as he took another sip from his plastic cup and the plates thrusted forward, eagerly anticipating their meals, he did the unthinkable. Jimmy, Steve, and Ed witnessed the horror of Malcolm flipping 3 perfectly melted cheeseburgers over on the grill. The cheese immediately oozed through the charred gates and disintegrated all over the briquettes. The boys stood in shock, waiting for Malcolm to realize what he just did. It took a moment. "You 3 going to the beach tonight?" He just spoke as if nothing happened. After another moment, there was still nothing. Finally, it was Ed who broke the silence first. "I'll have a hot dog." This sent the boys into an uncontrollable fit of laughter, which finally helped Malcolm to clue in on his faux pas. He looked down at the gooey sacrilege and back to the boys. "Whoops," was all the kid in him could offer. It didn't take long for us to get new and delicious cheeseburgers made perfectly the second time. To be fair, my grandfather was a great cook, and I missed those special evening sit-down dinners where he held court. He always seemed to bring his boyish quality to wherever he went, and I loved him for it. We were in paradise, and as we enjoyed our burgers under the shade of a large oak tree, we began to plan our shenanigans. The secret beer stash grew from a handful of strategic visits throughout the day in preparation for our big adventure that evening. Not that it was some epic quest, but to young teens, it was a time alone without adults, soothing friendship, and the first warmth of liquid courage. As darkness hit, they loaded up as many pockets as they could with their precious cargo and left the house for a walk to the beach. With a ritualistic peer back of the beer tabs and a clang of the cans together, down the hatch they went. Freedom was ingested. The walk that evening felt different. Yes, of course, I was getting a buzz for the first time, but it was more than that. We were the masters of our fate, captains of our soul, with the freedom to explore. I remember after that second can disappeared that I started to feel fearless, perhaps for the first time. Liquid courage is real, and the new yellow brick road led me and my friends to the town beach. The pomp and circumstance of Independence Day was in full effect. Music from the horn, wind, and string sections swirled together off the bandstand and created a blanket of celebration over the grass field. Rows and rows of lawn chairs were sprawled out like soldiers saluting the night sky, while the band's composition was punctuated with colorful explosions from above. 3 thunderous booms echoed the beach, signaling the boys' arrival. The beer spurring on a heightened state of existence, punctuated with sonic accuracy in the night sky. It was my first of many symphonic moments, as I have come to understand them over the years. A movie moment, if you will, where all senses converge to elicit a greater emotional depth of life in that very instance. I have come to live for these moments and also realize that for most, our willingness to explore and seek wonder at the other end of a risk disappears. But that night, all Jimmy had to do was look over to his right between the rows and rows of chairs and spectators to one man in particular who sat in wonder, aging and old, but never so young at heart. The boy was alive in Malcolm.